All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most classic choices any aspiring engineer has to make. Do you go mechanical or do you go civil? I mean, these are two of the oldest, most fundamental fields out there, and the path you choose really can shape your whole career. We've been digging through the forums and crunching the numbers to help you break it all down. Let's get into it.
So here it is, the big question. Do you want to be the person who designs the machines that make our world go round? Or are you the person who wants to design the massive infrastructure that those machines rely on? This is way more than just a college major, you know? It really defines the kind of problems you're going to spend your life solving. To figure it out, we've got to understand where the confusion even comes from.
And look, this is not just some theoretical question. This comment we found on Reddit from a user it nails the dilemma perfectly. They're totally into engines and cars, but they're also just blown away by huge buildings and infrastructure. If that sounds even a little bit familiar to you, then you are definitely in the right place. Let's untangle this thing.
Okay, the best way to start is by boiling this all down to the one single biggest difference between these two fields. Seriously, if you can get this one core idea, everything else just kind of clicks into place.
So first up, mechanical engineering. At its heart, it's all about the study of movement. We're talking about anything with moving parts. The pistons firing inside an engine, the giant blades of a wind turbine, the incredibly precise joints of a robotic arm. If it's designed to move, or generate power, or transfer energy, you can bet a mechanical engineer was behind it.
And now for civil engineering. This field is all about the world we literally build around ourselves. Think about the bridges you drive over every day, the skyscrapers that define a city's skyline, or the massive dams that power our communities. Civil engineers build the very foundations of modern society.
So if you want the absolute simplest way to remember the difference, just think about it like this. Mechanical engineering is for things designed to move, while civil engineering is for things designed to stay put. Now that is a huge oversimplification, as we're about to see, but it is the absolute best place to start.
There's this classic kind of dark humor joke that floats around in engineering circles that just nails this distinction. Now, it's obviously a joke, right? But it drives home that core difference between dynamic machines and static structures in a way you probably won't forget.
Okay, so we've got the theory down. But what does this actually mean for your day-to-day life? Where are you going to work, and what are you actually going to do? Let's take a look at the reality of the job.
And this is where the differences really start to show. Mechanical engineers often spend their time indoors, in an office or a research and development lab, focused on design, analysis, and testing, usually with their own internal teams. Civil engineers, on the other hand, they often split their time between the office and the actual construction site. And that means they have to coordinate with a whole range of outside people, from contractors to city officials.
And that whole on-site reality means that certain personality traits are pretty key. As this user points out, dealing with contractors every single day requires excellent communication skills and, a pretty thick skin. It's a role that's just as much about managing people and navigating conflict as it is about engineering.
You know, there's a running joke, a meme you've probably seen, that the only formula a civil engineer really needs to know is the sum of forces equals 0. Basically, that their entire job is just to make sure stuff doesn't move. But is the field really that simple?
Oh, not even close. That simple move versus don't move rule, it breaks down really, really quickly. Civil engineers are deeply involved with dynamics. They manage the powerful flow of water and hydraulics. They design buildings to survive the violent shaking of an earthquake, and they optimize the constant movement of cars and traffic engineering. Heck, even the ground under our supposedly static buildings is in constant motion.
All right, let's talk about the numbers. The stuff that often drives these big decisions, salary and job prospects. And just so you know, we're pulling all this data directly from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics for 2023.
So, starting with mechanical engineers, the median annual salary in 2023 was $99,510. That is a very strong number.
For civil engineers, the median comes in just a little bit lower, at $95,890. So, when it comes to the money, the two are actually very, very comparable.
And this chart really puts it in perspective. Yeah, mechanical engineers have a slight edge, but we're talking less than $4,000 a year on average. Like one commenter we saw said, that's not really a gap that's likely to change your life.
Okay, now let's look at job growth, because this is where it gets interesting. The projected growth for mechanical engineers through 2033 is a really strong 11%. That's well above the average for all jobs out there.
For civil engineers, the projected growth is 6%.
Now, that's still a healthy, steady rate of growth, for sure, but it is noticeably slower than the outlook for mechanical.
And when you see them side by side, the difference is pretty clear. Mechanical engineering is projected to grow at nearly double the rate of civil. So what does that suggest? Well, it suggests that the broader flexibility of a mechanical degree could translate into more opportunities over the next decade.
So we've covered the core concepts, the daily life, and the career data. How do you put all that together to actually make a choice? Let's synthesize all of this into a final takeaway. It really boils down to this one trade-off. Mechanical engineering offers this incredible breadth and flexibility. You can work in almost any industry you can imagine. Civil engineering, on the other hand, offers a more focused path with incredible stability. I mean, as long as we have cities and infrastructure, we will need civil engineers. Period.
And this quote just perfectly summarizes that trade-off. The freedom of a broad mechanical degree comes with a challenge. You have to decide what you want to do with it all. The stability of a civil degree comes with a path that's already laid out for you, which can be a little more rigid.
But you know what? Maybe the single most important thing to take away from all of this is, don't let this decision paralyze you. Your first degree is a foundation, it is not a cage. The core engineering skills are highly transferable. You'll find mechanical engineers working on infrastructure, and you'll find civil engineers working on aircraft. The boundaries are so much more fluid than they seem from the outside. So, in the end, it all comes back to a simple question of passion. What excites you more? The intricate, powerful engine or the monumental bridge that it crosses? That's a choice only you can make.